Seek God contact and He will guide you. The Lord doesn't tell you that you do not have to think for yourself, nor that you need not use your initiative. You have to do your part. The point is, if you cut yourself off from the source by wrong actions and desires, and by lack of faith and divine communion, then you cannot receive His all-powerful help. But if you are guided by attunement with God, He will help you to do the right thing and to avoid mistakes. The way to start is by deep and regular morning and evening meditation. The more you meditate, the more you will realize there is something behind the kingdom of ordinary consciousness where a great peace and happiness reign. Practice the presence of this peace and happiness, for it is the first proof of God contact. It is the conscious realization of truth within yourself. That is what you need. That is how to worship truth, for we can worship only what we know. Most people worship God as something intangible, but when you begin to worship Him as real, through your own inner perception, you will feel increasingly the presence of His power in your life. No matter what else you might do, nothing will produce that God contact which comes from deep meditation. Fervent effort to increase the inner peace and happiness born of meditation is the only way to realize God. The time to pray to God for guidance is after you have meditated and felt that inner peace and joy. That is when you have made divine contact. If you think you have a need, you can then place it before God and ask whether it is a legitimate prayer. If you feel inwardly that your need is just, then pray, "Lord, you know that this is my need. I will reason, I will be creative, I will do whatever is necessary. All I ask of you is that you guide my will and creative abilities to the right things that I should do." Be fair with God. Perhaps He has something better for you than what you are praying for. It is a fact that sometimes your most fervent prayers and desires are your greatest enemies. Talk sincerely and justly with God, and let Him decide what is right for you. If you are receptive, He will lead you. He will work with you. Even if you make mistakes, don't be afraid. Have faith. Know that God is with you. Be guided in everything by that power. It is unfailing. This truth is applicable to every one of you. By practice of ever deeper meditation, you can eventually go into the superconscious state of inner realization and remain therein while performing on the conscious plane all of your activities. When you learn to work from the state of superconsciousness and to work with divine inner happiness no matter what you are doing, you will feel with you always the presence and power of God. As I perceive, may you perceive. I have delivered His message to you, and I see His great light in you all. In that light I bless you. The ethereal power of God flows through me, through my speech, my brain, my cells, every wisp of my consciousness. Every thought is a channel through which His divine light is passing. Open your hearts and realize that the divine light is also passing through you. As I perceive, may you perceive. As I behold, may you behold. The word holiday sprang from two words, holy day. A holy day should be a time for introspective thinking and for man to nurture his sacred soul qualities. One of the 10 commandments is, remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy, a day of rest and spiritual renewal. Christians observe the Sabbath on Sunday, a day for basking in the sunlight of wisdom. The Hindus reserve a number of days in the year for spiritual purposes. Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas correspond to some of the sacred days of the Hindus. The Durga Puja festival is as widely observed in India as is Christmas in the West. Man is a spiritual and a material being. He should develop himself spiritually by inner discipline and become materially efficient by developing his business faculties. Primitive man kept all his mental faculties busy satisfying the needs of the material life. His time was spent in hunting, eating, and sleeping. Modern man tries scientifically to meet the present material conditions of life. What primitive man did unmethodically, modern man does methodically. This method in modern man's efforts for material success has indirectly improved his inner faculties. The masters of India counsel direct development of the inner faculties, such as willpower to fight temptation, feeling for serving fellow beings, and intuition for directly realizing truth. If making money to secure material comforts is necessary for man, then making happiness is supremely necessary. Possession of material riches without inner peace is like dying of thirst while bathing in a lake. People crave different things, money or fame or spirituality, as a result of early habits and specific environmental influences. That is why the people of both the East and the West lead one-sided lives. The East is generally more spiritually inclined and the West more materially inclined. But we cannot live happily by spiritual doctrines only or by riches only. To bring a balance into the lives of men of East and West, both should adopt a method of developing an equilibrated life. People in general spend 6 days of the week in making money and even the 7th in thinking about it. But they spend hardly any time on self-development. One reason the West has so much crime, so many murders and robberies in spite of its developed civilization, is that people are too busy securing the commodities of material comfort and have no time to reflect on the practical value of following moral and spiritual principles. If material poverty is to be avoided, spiritual poverty is to be abhorred, for the latter is the underlying cause of all human suffering. A practical spiritual man is a happy man, and only a happy man is a successful man. 100% material prosperity among the inhabitants of a city will not prevent murders and crime. Following the universal principles of mutual service, spontaneous cooperation, love for the spiritual life, and disciplining the human sense cravings is wholly necessary for the harmonious, happy, healthy, prosperous life of any community. Official records annually show that almost $1 billion are stolen by young men and women ranging in age from 15 to 30. We have the New York newspapers report that 400,000 more meals were served in the jails this year than last year. Why is all this? Because the ordinary man's attention is not yet fixed on the vital problems of the art of living. Why not use some of the money spent for erecting and maintaining jails to create how-to-live schools, which will prevent children from becoming criminals? Criminal offenders grown worse in jails are let loose in healthy society for further spread of the bacteria of crime. Most persons will say, "Oh, I am too busy with my business to think about the art of living." We all know about that. Someday we will come to it, but what we are interested in right now is money. But what purpose would money serve if one succeeds in making millions at the cost of a complete nervous breakdown and loss of poise and happiness?